Welcome to Deep Thought. Literacy affects your worldview. I'm going to be talking about worldviews this week and 3 different things that affect worldview. There's plenty more, trust me. I could probably do a whole 2 months of different things that affect worldview. But I said I'll do something on worldview this week. And I was just moved, just real quick, when I do anything on this particular channel, it's whatever I'm thinking about at a particular time. And one of the things that I was thinking about was literacy, being able to read. Because reading really expands your worldview. Now, I know on my other channel, my relationship channel, I'll say, hey, you need to experience relationships. But it doesn't hurt to read about them if you can. But I'll get into relationships later this week. But literacy, as you see behind me, I have several books. Because I have several books, different authors, and I see things a bit differently from someone who hasn't picked up a book since high school. In fact, in this particular country, I think one of the saddest things is you have people who have not picked up a book since high school. And even in high school, all they picked up was a textbook working on an assignment. Indeed, I had seen something that said a great many people read at a 5th grade level. And when I say read, it's not just reading the stuff, but having reading comprehension. But see, reading comprehension, that was something that's always come easy to me. I could read on a graduate school level when I was in the 6th grade. And it was something that I really learned from. Like, one of the things, we didn't have like these search engines. And when my dear grandmother, may she rest in peace, she had bought me encyclopedias. I would just go through it. And you know, it's interesting, because I remember something in the 8th grade, and I remember this was 1979, and I mentioned that there were 4 billion people in the world, and I had a school teacher actually argue with me, a teacher now, saying, oh no, there's trillions of people being born every day. People dying every day too. But the correct answer was 4 billion people. I knew that from reading. And I'm going to tell you what, with reading books, reading stuff. In fact, in my book, Nice Guys and Players, I actually encourage men to read things, even stuff that goes against what they might believe. I mean, I have a few books here, like here's one book by Charles Murray, Coming Apart, The State of White America, 1960 to 2010. Now, here it is right here. Now, somebody would say, well, why would you get that? Why would you get something by Charles Murray? Because it expanded my mind. Now, a lot of people would say, hey, why would you, a black man, buy something by him? It expanded my mind. I got plenty of books here. Plenty of books. Psycho-cybernetics. I mean, shoot, I've had stuff that really expanded. In fact, there's a book right next to it. And I'm just grabbing the stuff that's right in front of me I can reach for. Super Hubs, how the financial elites and their networks rule our world. Now, I would get all these different books because it would give me a different perspective on what I see. I see the world from a bigger point of view. I don't just see it from the point of view of the theys, the propaganda, or what I'm hearing on the streets. Now, I pay attention to all of that, and I still say everybody needs to go out and listen, but that's just one perspective. Because each of those books, that's a different perspective. I remember with a woman, may she rest in peace, who was like a second mother. She said, reading these books, it's like talking with someone. And you're actually talking with the author, because even though the authors at their best try to be objective, you know they're not. And I'm saying that as an author. Even when you're writing something nonfiction, you still gonna write it from your point of view. But then you seeing it from their point of view. Because one of the things I would say, even when you, especially when you read in nonfiction books, is look at their notes. One of the things I do, I look at their notes. I go right for their end notes or their footnotes, however they do it, and then check out where they got some information or a particular bit of information, and then I'll get that book. And then even to this day, I will pick up different books just to see the perspective from it. Just to see the perspective. Like, I have this book right here. Now, it's giving me some perspectives on Black history that I hadn't known before. But when you check out all these books, let me get this back in here, good. One of the things that you learn is you see things. It expands your worldview. It affects your worldview. You see something from a bigger angle. Someone who reads different types of books might have an eclectic collection of books. They gonna see stuff different from somebody who doesn't even read the newspaper or what's left of the newspapers. Yeah, well, newspapers are still out there, but even that, in my view, is propaganda. But you can still read that just to get that angle. Okay, who's promoting this? Who's getting what out of it? What's being talked about? But that's the thing. But when you have literacy, like, it's powerful. Reading is powerful. Indeed, during Black America's prisoner of war period, that's what I always call it. I don't like the term slavery. Prisoner of war period. You know, it was punishable by law of teaching a prisoner of war to read. And it was just like, why? Because it would expand their mind. It expands what they're thinking about. It gives them knowledge. See, literacy also gives you knowledge. It gives you knowledge of different things going on, knowing stuff. Like back in 1979, when I said to a teacher, now this is a teacher who didn't know how many people were in the world, talking about trillions. This planet wouldn't survive with trillions. We have 8 billion and count, 8.5 billion, headed towards 9 billion now, and people complaining about like how many people we have now. If we had trillions, that wouldn't even make sense. But we had a teacher who just didn't know just something basic back then. So imagine that teacher teaching other students that. In fact, I'll just say that teacher was fun, because if I didn't feel like doing work one day, he'd just throw out something and we wouldn't do any work. But yeah, that was something. But here's the bottom line. Reading is powerful. Reading books is powerful. And it could be on, like I said, different subjects. It don't have to be something you agree with. In fact, some of the greatest knowledge I've gotten is from books I didn't agree with, or from authors I didn't agree with. And this could have been on their political views, their racial views, their religious views. But then I would learn something, then you have an idea. You have an idea about who you're dealing with out here. And it expands your worldview. That's the key. That's the key thing. You're not limited. And you have knowledge. Knowledge is power. Knowledge that you can apply is power. I want y'all to think about that, all right? Just think about that. Shit, I mean, when you talk, as you see, talk about books, and like I said, if I had every single book I've ever read in life, oh, this whole floor would have bookshelves. Every single book I've read, I can't even give you a number, but it affects my worldview. Literacy, just being able to read, affects your worldview, all right? Think on this, okay? And I'll get back with y'all. Peace and blessings.